Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming today for this event. Welcome to Accenture. We are part of Next Gen Engineering, which is part of Accenture. And I will let Samer introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Ammar. Welcome today to our talk, Unleashing the Power of AWS Bedrock. So I will be presenting this with my colleague, Ammar. My name is Sallam. You can call me just Samer. At the moment, I'm data practice lead at Next Gen Engineering in Midland and Southwest region. I have more than 9 years of experience in the data space, whether as a data scientist or data engineer, in addition to work as a software engineer in some projects. So hopefully I have the full landscape. I came to the UK after being endorsed by Technation in the UK as a data science global talent. And I have my master's degree in computer and information engineering from IIUM at Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Ammar?
I'm Ammar, AI and data engineer working at Accenture. I have more than 5 years working with data and machine learning projects. I have worked as a researcher before, publishing many papers in the field of machine learning and robotics. And currently I'm exploring Gen AI, and hopefully you'll enjoy this session with us today.
Yes. Thank you. So in this presentation, actually, we have short and sweet content for you. So we will talk about why Gen AI in the first place and why now. We will talk briefly about AI tools and what foundational models are, the concept of RAG. Then we will start to talk about Bedrock and Bedrock agents and guide rails. So without any further ado, why Gen AI and why now? So I will do my best to make those slides concise and precise, but actually they are quite related to my story, which I started my career as a data scientist or machine learning engineer. Then I decided to shift to be more a software engineer and data engineer. And now I am rethinking seriously about Gen AI. And I will tell you why in this slide. So first of all, what is Gen AI quickly? So Gen AI, it's type of AI model where it generates a new content of data based on a pre-learned model, which is different from predictive model, where we try to predict, for example, a group, or let me say a class for something, like is it, for example, positive or negative, or in regression problem where we try to predict a number like house price based on features. And when we say patterns here, we mean any kind of data. It might be text, it might be images, video, whatever. Gen AI is based on large language models, which is another word based on what we call transformer models. There are a lot of research papers published around this and why they are super powerful, but there's no time to get in details here. At the moment, there are a lot of, I would say, tools for Gen AI, including ChatGPT, for example. We have Gemini AI from Google, we have AWS, Bedrock, etc. And the key thing just to keep in mind here, so Gen AI is not ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a tool, not a field. And there are other tools. It's not only ChatGPT in the field of Gen AI. Now, why you should care? To be honest, because now Gen AI start to transform businesses or business operation, if in not all industries, in a lot of them, by augmenting human capabilities. And I hate this word replacing, because AI or Gen AI will not replace a human. But we have to know that, for example, in our field, engineering, engineers who know Gen AI will replace engineers who don't know Gen AI. So be careful from this. Now we are in the era of reinvention. So every business should think about how Gen AI can help them rethink how their work gets done. And usually we are, as consultants here in Accenture, when we try to help our client to understand how Gen AI can help them, we try to look for the value. And usually the value for business might be in two things. For example, when we make a business, we want to make money, right? How you make money? By either decreasing expenses or increasing your sales. So you have to think about these 2 points if you are a business owner or if you are in a company, and how we can use Gen AI to improve something here. So for example, If we use Gen AI to increase the productivity of our team, maybe the team size can be less for some tasks, so you are saving here. And you can think about it in more details in your field. Now, the most important things for me here, it's, to be honest, not about just technology. It's about the mindset of Gen AI and what has been changed between Gen AI as a field and traditional machine learning. Okay, so in the past, if I want to build or to solve a problem using machine learning, I put a simple example here, which is sentiment analysis for restaurant reviews. So usually the first thing we do is we have to collect a data set. Once we collect this data set, we have to label this data set. After that, we should train an AI model. And when we say AI model, there are several algorithms, and we can test several of them. And for each one of these algorithms, there are several parameters. So you have to try a lot of them or do a lot of experiments to find the best model for yourself. And then you have to deploy that model. And then once you put it live, some problems will start to appear. So you have to reiterate, collect data, label it, etc. And do this again and again. Now, in Gen AI, when we want to solve a problem, now the mindset change. Why? Because in Gen AI, we already have the model. It's already trained, so we don't have to worry about this. So we don't have to worry about the data. We are not collecting data in most of the cases. We are not training the model again from scratch. But what we are doing, actually, we are writing a prompt. So we start from idea, and then we try to write a prompt to achieve the idea or to solve the problem that we have. Then we try to test that prompt. And if we find any error, we improve that prompt, and we keep this loop again and again. Now you can see in traditional machine learning, we train model. In Gen AI, we write prompt. But the key thing here is in timing. So for example, in supervised learning, usually if you want to collect data and label it, it might take a month. Now, training data on models, it might take up to 3 months by, as I mentioned, training several models from several algorithms, etc. And then deploying it and put it in a live environment, etc. It might take 3 months. And here it's a very important point. The time that's take from collecting the data to seeing something real and live in the environment is very long. And because it's trial and error science, usually we are very frustrated at the end, especially when we see that we don't get the result that we want. And if we want to get the result that we want, in most of cases, it's out of our control, because sometimes there are limitations about collecting the data that we want. For example, let's assume if you want to collect the data for a medical problem, let's talk about a disease like cancer. Number of people who have cancer is very limited. So you can't increase the data set size that you want to improve the model. And this is a very restrictive limitation in this field, which is usually out of our control. Also, when we build something, or let me say, when I spend, let's say, 6 months building something, and then at the end, it doesn't work as in the way that I want, I will feel upset, to be honest. And this is the key reason for myself to change, to be honest, this field. I shifted from data scientist to data engineering. Because in data engineering, it's a real engineering. We design something, we build it, we deploy it, it works as expected. I know there are problems, but there is always work around that within our remit. Now, when Gen AI come to the scene, actually it's a game changer from my point of view, because now I would say within a couple of days, I can see the results, and I can tell if it will work or not, or what are the limitations, or how far I can go with the solution for this problem. Okay, so I would say Gen AI help us to fail quickly if we are going to fail. But with these massive capabilities, so think about Gen AI model. It's like a model that's trained on the whole internet data, which is massive amount of data, massive capabilities available in that model. So I would say the range of problem that we can now solve with super quick time is very big. And this is the key reason for me now why I'm considering machine learning again, or let me say Gen AI. And another thing here is, in Gen AI, as I mentioned, we writing prompts. And writing prompts, it's something that software engineer can do easily. However, in the past, software engineer will struggle a little bit when it comes to train model, because this needs some scientific knowledge or some experience in the science itself, like, for example, linear algebra or calculus, etc., to understand some concepts and apply them. But in Gen AI, you don't need that. You just need the mindset of writing prompts, error and analysis for these prompts, and then deploying it when it works. So that's it in a nutshell from my point of view. And now I will give it to my colleague Ammar to start talking about tools and AWS Bedrock. Ammar?
Thanks, Ammar. Right, so the evolution of AI tools. We all started dealing with machine learning using Keras, TensorFlow, and PyTorch. But after that, we shifted into more, let me say, more wrapped up tools like Dataiku and more cloud native tools like, for example, SageMaker in AWS, which made it easier for us to build and to train, build and train and deploy machine learning models. And now we have a more abstract way to deal with machine learning, where we only need to hit an API with our prompt to get an answer, and it's already deployed for us. Okay, so Amazon Bedrock is one of those tools where it's an AWS service, so you can integrate with other Amazon services easily. It's serverless, so it will pay as you go, and it's fully managed and easy to experiment, and we'll see that. And also, it will give you the core Gen AI capabilities like building RAG and also agents. And this is when I asked Bedrock about itself. I asked Bedrock to generate an image that reflect those features. Yeah. So the foundation models are at the heart of any Gen AI tool. And the difference is that between the traditional ML models and the foundation model is in the capability of the foundation model of covering multiple tasks at the same time. But the machine learning models are trained for only one task. And these are some of the tools that Bedrock give us to deal with, to play with. So let me go to Bedrock. So this is Bedrock service on AWS console. And here we have all the models that we can play with. And they have here what's called playgrounds. So if you want if you have a business problem and you want to see which is the best model for you, you should start from this space where you can chat with the models and see if it's good enough for your use case, and compare between the different models. For example, I will go to open this image background, and I'll start with an image here. Image prompt is blue backpack on a table.
You don't have access.
Okay, okay. So this is like a step that we should do before we access any model. So it should be done once, but so when you go to Bedrock and say get started, go to the base models. Okay, so we want the Amazon model, which generate images. Somewhere here. Yeah, this one. So I'll ask for access. So this step can be done only from console, and it's required.
There is next button at the bottom.
Yeah, but I need to check it. First, Titan image generator. Because some of the models need you to upload, submit a form to say what is your use case that you will use this model for, because there are some restrictions on some models. Okay, so we have access. Go back to the image here. Again.
So blue what? Blue
So,
backpack on a table.
Yeah, this prompt will should generate images for a blue backpack on a table. And it generates multiple variations of it. You can limit this to only one image or multiple ones. And on the right, we have multiple things that we can play with, like, okay, here are the images. And for example, it has also editing capability, so you can edit. And for example, if I don't want this bottle here, I can say remove bottle and run. Okay. It's there's something wrong with the prompt, but let's add. Okay, but
Typical.
Yeah. So the idea here that we should add put a prompt here, and it should add or remove objects into the image live. Okay, so this is the playground where you can deal with the different models. And this is to choose the foundation model. Now, the RAG is one of the main patterns to build Gen AI applications, where you need it consists of two steps. The first is to convert the data that's relevant to your enterprise into embedding vectors and store it in a vector database. And then you can take prompts for users and to retrieve and generate the response. So you need to retrieve the relevant chunks of data from the vector database and generate the final answer using a foundation model. And the RAG pattern can be implemented in Bedrock using knowledge bases. So the knowledge bases will be able to do do a fully managed data ingestion workflow. It will build it for you. It has also two APIs. The first one is the retrieve and generate API, where you can retrieve the relevant data and generate the final answer using a model. And the retrieve API will give you the flexibility to retrieve the relevant data without generating the final answer. So if you want to do some post-processing, you can do that with the retrieve AI. So let's take this simple example where we want to build an accounting AI assistant. Its purpose is to give reports about expenses using receipts, which are PDF files. So first of all, we need to upload our data into S3 bucket, and we'll connect that into a knowledge base. So I have already uploaded 2 receipts. I have received them from Uber. They look like this one, where I have a subtotal. I have some information about the rider and other things as well. and the journey, etc. So I have two of these, and I want to build a simple GenAI application that's able to read these PDF files and calculate the total cost that, for these two journeys. So the first step is, let's assume that I've selected the model, and then I will build the knowledge base which has access to this data source. Okay. So this is the knowledge base. Okay. The knowledge base has, it's very simple to create. It only has the knowledge base name, and then I need to connect that into a data source on S3, and I will choose which embedding model I need to use to convert the data sources into embedding vectors. And of course, I want to choose the vector database that I will use to store the data vectors. And this will be used as well for retrieval. So the vector database has a retrieval algorithm within inside it, like the k nearest neighbor, for example. And here we can select a model then. I'll select this one. And then I can chat directly with this knowledge base. So remember, the knowledge base has access to my data source and has access now to the LLM model, right? So it will use, the knowledge base will use these two things, two components, to give me an answer. So I'll say, give me the total costs from the receipts. Okay, this is wrong because it should be more than 16, as I remember. So why it's wrong? Because it the only thing that the knowledge base do is to retrieve data from the documents and analyze it as text. So it has no capability of doing calculations and other sophisticated things. The LLMs was trained only on text, so it will not give you the results of calculations. So this is why we need other tools to deal to be connected into knowledge bases. But for example, if I ask to give me a list for the cost from the receipts, it should be able to do it. Okay, so we have two receipts, and these are the costs inside these receipts, right? But it's not able to calculate them, or just to do a simple math calculation. So to do that, we need to connect the knowledge bases into agents. And this is where Bedrock agents came helpful. So the agents, you can think about it, it's like an orchestrator. So okay, so the agents work as orchestrator. So they take the input from the prompt from the user, and they connect with the LLM model to convert this prompt into steps and into smaller, let me say, smaller pieces. And it will reason about, the agent will ask himself, what should I do next to solve this, to answer this prompt? So it will start to look into two main things, into the knowledge bases where the agent is connected to the knowledge bases and into the action groups, which are, let me say, there are functions, right? So your business logic will reside in the action groups, and the knowledge bases will hold your data. And the agent will decide to either connect to your business logic to get an answer, or to go to the knowledge bases to get relevant data. And this, yeah. The action group is hold the business logic for your application. So, for example, the action group will be there will be a function there. It's the responsible of that function is to do the calculations.
What's the EC2 variance that Bedrock agent is make the architecture layer?
The EC2.
Yeah.
There's no EC2 here. It's a serverless architecture. Yeah, it's all serverless. So okay, we'll see a more AWS related one. So as you can see here, the agent will have action group, which is connected to a Lambda function. So your business logic will be in that Lambda function. And the agent will connect as well into a knowledge base where you have your data there. And it will orchestrate these connections and will know when to call the functions and when to call the knowledge base, which has the data. So in our example, let's go back to the example here. So we have an agent. And in this agent, let me show you quickly here. So we have a name again, and we have a model. And I'm telling the agent, you are an expert accounting assistant capable of reading receipts from the knowledge base and accurately calculating the total expenses. So this is the instruction to the agent. We have here the action group, which is connected to a Lambda function. And also, I haven't built the Lambda function by myself. I've only give it a description. So I said this function will take a list of expenses as input and return a total number as output. And also, I have said I need an input parameter is called expenses, and the description will be this is a list of expenses to be summed up. And of course, this agent is connected to the knowledge base. Finally, I'll test it. Okay, so calculate the total cost for Uber journeys for Ammar Tello.
Ammar, just heads up for time.
Okay. I think am I in the agents? Okay, so again, it did not work, and I think this is because it's a short conversation. So I need to give the agent more context, but I think we don't have enough time today for that. Okay. Finally, the final feature for last feature for the Bedrock is the guardrails, where you can do responsible AI with it. So it will block the undesirable topics, and also it will do filter on content if it's offensive, and it will detect hallucinations as well. Just this like a little snippet from the future where you can go to the party rock. It's based on Bedrock. So you can build an application with a prompt. So it will be the whole application with a prompt. And thank you.